This lesson, we're going to talk about solving rational equations. One thing that we need to remember, rational equations, we need to make sure we check solutions, right? So, rational equations, we must check the solutions. Why is that? Because we do have restrictions. Because being a fraction form, whatever that makes denominator equals to 0, that's the number that you cannot keep it as the solution, right? So we need to make sure that the solution we found is not one of the restrictions. So just without going through solving the problems, your restrictions for the first fraction will be -3, so you cannot have solution of -3. This one, solving for x, that will be -3. This is +2, right? So you cannot have -3 and +2 as the solutions. Let's just start it from there, right? That's the restriction, -3 and 2. So now, if we're trying to solve for rational equations, we know this from the previous examples. Fraction, if we can get rid of denominator, make it non-fraction form, that's one of the easy ways to solving the fractions, right? So we need to find what to multiply to get rid of denominator. In order to do that, you need to find the factor form first. So let's see. This is already simplest form, right? This is already simplest form. But this one right here, you can factor 2 out, and then you will have x plus 3 remains, right? And this one is already simplest form. You cannot factor any further. So from the factor, you notice your least common denominator should be x plus 3, right here. And then you need to use the 2 also. And then let's pull that 2 into the front, right? And then another x minus 2. So that's going to be your least common denominator. And when you multiply that to the whole problems, let me rewrite it. So you're multiplying 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 2 to 3 over x plus 3. And you do that to all fractions. What you end up getting is no more denominator, right? This disappeared, 2 and x plus 3, right? So then what's left over? You started with 3, right? So 3 times 2, which is 6, times x minus 2, left over from the first fractions. Second fraction is 5 times x minus 2 left over, plus 2 times x plus 3. So once we get rid of all denominator to make it 1, and then you end up getting non-fraction form. And the next thing I need to do is I see the parentheses, so get rid of the parentheses by distributing. And combine the like term. Look like this is going to be linear. So if it's linear, you want to put number with the variable on one side, number without the variable on the other side. So it will be, let's simplify first so that you don't need to move too many. That's going to give you 7x. This 2 going to give you -4. Look like I should be able to move the number with the variable to the right to make it positive. Without the variable to the left, you get -8 equals to x. And I need to check my solutions, right? And the minimum checking I need to do is making sure my solution is not a restriction. X cannot be -3 and 2, right? Remember the restrictions? And my solution is not one of that restriction, so it's okay to keep it. Right? So that's how we're going to solve rational equations. So in other words, trying to get rid of fraction form, right? So when we're looking at the B, we see this is factor form, this is simplest form, right? So we cannot factor any further. But this one we can factor as x plus 5, x minus 5. So least common denominator of this rational equation will be x minus 5, x plus 5. Let me see, that don't look like x plus 5, so let me rewrite it. Then when you multiply that to here, plus 5 cancel out denominator 1, minus 5 cancel out denominator 1, both cancel out denominator 1, right? So no more denominator. What's left over? I have 4 times x minus 5, 2 times x plus 5, 32. And get rid of parentheses by distributing. You get 4x minus 20 plus 2x plus 10 equal 32. Look like this is going to be linear equations. Let's simplify before you start moving around. So let's put number with the variable together without the variable on the other side. Dividing by 6, you get 7. What did we do? Dividing by 6. So that's my solutions. What was the restrictions? Restriction is -5 and +5. So it's okay to keep our solution 7. 7 is okay to have as a solution, right? And this is how we're going to solve rational equations. Try your homework problem, and if you have a more problem that you want me to solve for you, email me, right? Or come to my office hour. We can go over it together.